Who was sitting on the thing from before? I didn't sneak it up. It was there. See, you can tell us on the agenda tonight.
Okay, everybody ready?
Hello?
Yeah, you call those. I'll get you. Good time. That wasn't it. John's married.
John who?
Rodney.
It's okay.
It's just me. Did you see him come over to me?
Yeah.
He says, that guy has an answer for everything. You don't shut up about hands.
Okay, all set? Good evening and welcome to the November 5th, 2013 meeting of the Town of Wareham Board of Selectmen and Sewer Commissioners. May we have the roll call, please?
Present tonight is Selectman Whiteside, Selectman Tropiano, Selectman Holmes, Selectman Slavin, Selectman Teitelbaum, Town Administrator Rich Bowen, and, Town Administrator, never mind, I have a cold.
Mr. Sullivan went over to get something. He'll be back.
And Town Council Rich Bowen. It's going to be a long night, guys.
Okay. Which means you'll probably skip over the next one, so I'll say it. Announcements? No, that's not the one you skip.
No, that's citizens' participation.
Okay.
Mrs. Whiteside?
Yes, thank you. I know we're all baseballed out, but I just want to let you all know that in that championship series between the Red Sox and the other team, there were 13 Cape Cod League Baseball League alumni. 2 of them actually played for Wareham, and Farrell has a connection with Wareham, Matheny with somebody else, I don't remember, but 13 players from the Cape Cod Baseball League, which is an outstanding number. Second of all, just want to say thank you to all of the groups and the businesses and the clubs and organizations who made for a very, very, very safe Halloween for the kids. I think that's an outstanding community effort. And speaking of community efforts, I have my costume ready, but we haven't sold enough tickets to make it worth my while to make a complete idiot out of myself on the 22nd of November at the library. Tickets are $30. Be there or beware.
Mr. Tropiano?
I just want to remind everybody that the annual meeting of Wareham Little League is the 18th at 6:30 in the Wareham Middle School. We vote for a new slate of officers and things of that nature, and anyone who has children that are going to be in the league next year or are in the league presently, would like to have you come and be a participant in the league and to try to make it as best as it possibly can be. And we hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Mr. Holmes?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just follow up on what Mrs. Whiteside had to say on 2 points. One, I thought that the whole town, from Bridge to the Marion Line and points west, looked great for Halloween. The decorations, people got into the season. Properties looked good. I had a whole big thing of candy, but no visitors again this year, so I don't know what to do with it now. I should have brought it tonight, because I'm not supposed to eat that candy, being diabetic. And the second point I'll make is that this is going to hang around for a little bit longer. But speaking to the baseball piece, there are several leaders in our community tied in with sports, youth clubs, leagues, and I got to tell you, still, my suggestion has always been to them, and continues to be, and they need to do the work, Mrs. Whiteside noted 13 members of Alumni Gateway League. Cape Cod.
Cape Cod baseball.
Thank you. And I would suggest that you contact Mrs. Whiteside if you have an organization or a league that needs funding or needs any of those types of things. These guys are very generous through their foundations. And most of them have a very special place in Wareham as they played here through the Cape Cod League. So just a reminder to those I've already spoken to and those I haven't, I have now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Announcements. We have a wine tasting tomorrow, November 6th, Eastern Bank on Main Street, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. This will be a fundraiser for the Celebration 2014. Wines are donated by Sullivan Wines and Spirits, and wine is provided by the service by Off the Vine. The tickets are $20 donations. Wareham Coffee Hour. Mr. Liam McKenna is the new editor for Wareham Week, and he will be with Mr. White on Thursday, 9 a.m., room 225 at the Wareham Multi-Service Center. Just a quick note for everybody. There was an announcement this past week about the Cape Flyer stopping in Wareham. Mass Rail, which basically oversees the whole thing, will be forthcoming on its plans for the stop in Wareham. The board, in conjunction with Representative Gifford, will continue to monitor and also have dialogue back and forth what's going to happen. And we'll give you announcements as we know. Old Town Hall, as everybody knows, is being in the process of being repaired. There's been a little unexpected problem as far as what we call hidden damage. It looks as if we'll be waiting for a supplement quote before we can finish the work itself. Unfortunately, the supplement may run in excess of $30,000. We'll get back to you on that as well. There'll be a groundbreaking for the new hotel, November 12th at Rosebrook. And that's what I have for today.
I just wanted to, backstop what Selectman Slavin just said about the Cape Flyer announcement. We're still waiting for confirmation as to exactly where that's going to be, but we've been promised by Representative Gifford and by the governor that it's going to stop here in town next summer. So we're getting on the railway map of eastern Massachusetts bit by bit. As Selectman Slavin said, we'll continue to try to work with the state officials to see if we can do even more things. Thank you. Next item, please.
Citizens' participation.
And the hands go up. Start with you, Mrs. Rumney.
Right in the microphone. Is that good? Okay, I'm Pat Rumney, and I'm here to give you an update on my petition, which will accept the Mass General Law to plow snow on private streets. And that will be the question that goes on the ballot in April. And I am getting signatures. There's an awful lot of people out there that want to sign. And I haven't quite got all the ones I need, but I'm sure that I'm going to, because there's a couple of blanks out there that I know people are working on. They also, Wareham Week, wrote a story about the snow plowing, and I allowed them to use my name and my telephone number, so I do get a lot of phone calls. And one of the things I found out is I'm living here since 1975, but I don't go around Wareham. You know, I kind of just stay in West Wareham and go over to the plaza and go over to Walmart and things like that. But I'm getting calls from people I don't even know it's in Wareham. What made me laugh was, I think, Hamilton Beach. And I said, Hamilton Beach? Where is Hamilton Beach? And they told me it was near Swift's Beach. Well, Swift's Beach I knew. But getting to these places has been tricky. Also, what I was amazed about was that a lot of development houses, the streets are beautiful. You know, they're like brand new streets, and it really, really brings home what a difficult thing this is to have to go through and get these streets accepted. But that's only my little 2 cents that I say. The streets are really nice, you know, and they're all new developments and beautiful homes and nice people. So I've learned a lot, and I kind of like it. So I hope to have the whole entire package by the end of this month, the end of November. And I've been told that I must turn this in to the Board of Selectmen. And then I will bring it to the Selectmen's office, and they will sign it in, and then it will come on the agenda through that way so that you people can vote and accept the petition, so it can be turned to Mary Ann Silver, the clerk. Now, that's what I've been told. Now, I see some faces looking a little confused. I was confused at first, too. So you've got plenty of time to find out. Is Rich here?
Rich is here.
I had a feeling that Rich was here.
I didn't mind the other confused faces, but when I saw his, I figured we'd better ask him.
Mine was more of a frowny face.
Oh, okay.
Confused face.
Hi, Rich.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, my only thought is that, and I'll double check obviously, but it should probably start with the town clerk just to certify that we have the right number of signatures before the board takes any actions in terms of getting it on the ballot. I think that's probably the way to go.
Well,
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to disagree with that, Rich, but I am going to say that that's not what the town clerk told me. Okay, so so the town clerk should be instructed. I'm not going to tell you what to do, Mr. Attorney, but someone should tell her that's the procedure.
With
Yeah, well,
I'll be
Rich, you
visiting
could
with
look
the clerk on Thursday.
Okay. So then I can turn it to the clerk and let it, okay. And that's all I really have to say. Nice working with you.
Selectman Holmes?
Pat, how many names do you have?
I have about 160
How
right
many
now.
do you need?
I need 200, but I'm going for 300, just
Right.
in case there are people who think they're registered and they're not.
That happens to us when we put our names in too.
Yeah.
But you're not running around to all these houses on your own, are you?
Some of them I am. It's kind of fun.
Ah,
Yeah.
because I was going to suggest if you had some papers, you could put them. I know some people who would put them on the counters, and you could direct people to go there and sign them.
Well, I
You
gave that some thought, but I got so many signatures already
Oh, okay.
by
I was just
various
offering if
various
you-
people were helping me. I'm not doing this
Oh,
alone.
all right.
But
I want to make sure you're not driving all over Wareham getting one name at a time. Then.
I get 44 miles to the gallon in my little car.
Wow. Outstanding.
So
now you
I'm
know what it
happy.
feels like when you put your phone number up on that TV screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
it keeps ringing, and but it's fun.
Okay.
I've met some nice people.
Well, thank you for the update. Appreciate all your work. Okay, I know I saw some other hands. The moderator was the fastest. Good evening.
Good evening. It seems like we speeded up over the last couple of weeks, so it's a good feeling. I just wanted to expound a little bit on the announcement that Selectman Slavin made about the wine tasting tomorrow night at Eastern Bank. It's not only a wine tasting, there also will be piano music by Al Russo. Several of the local restaurants will be offering hors d'oeuvres, and there will also be a photo display of Bob Grumpy Conway's pictures. So even if you're not into tasting wine, come down and enjoy the social evening. There will be non-alcoholic drinks as well. But in addition to that, I want to unveil our first souvenir for 2014. This just came Monday. We're waiting for the packaging to come. It should be here tomorrow. This is a calendar of historic sites in Wareham. It includes Wareham's first bank, the house on Wickett's Island, the Prince Burgess House, the Agawam Herring Run, the Onset Wigwam, a photo of the HMS Nimrod, Thompson and Company on Main Street, the ferry that came to Onset Pier, the Kendrick House, the Cranberry Harvest back in the late 1800s, the parade on Armistice Day in the early period of time in Wareham in the Faring Tavern. And then inside there are other photos that weren't incorporated in the large photos. There were some additional photos that we all loved, but we couldn't fit them in. So we will have those available tomorrow night for a donation of $12 to the Summer Celebration Fund. And then we will be looking for different places throughout town where people will be able to go in and pick these up over the next 2 months. We'll be doing a couple of Christmas fairs. I believe we booked the Deacon's Fair, the Congregational Church Fair, and a couple of others. So come out and support those. You'll find us at a table there so people can pick these up as holiday gifts. It's absolutely wonderful. We're really proud of this, and I want to thank the committee that worked on this because I think they did a wonderful job. This is really going to be something that people can be proud to give as a holiday gift or to take home as a souvenir. So this is going to be available as of tomorrow night, and so look for us over the next couple of months. But that's our first souvenir for 2014. Yeah, we will be probably locating a couple places in Onset, a couple places in Wareham where we can put them. We'll be looking for, you know, a retail store that might keep them on hand so people can walk in. I don't know if we could maybe have somewhere in Town Hall, something we could talk about, but we want to make it easy for people to access them and pick them up. But this is absolutely, we're really excited about this. So again, you know, our first unveiling will be tomorrow night. Come down to Eastern Bank at 5:30 if you want to pick one up, and we'll be there. Secondly, I didn't want to address this at town meeting. I know people wanted to get home to see the game and wanted to get through the business of the town, but on November 20th in Wayland town meeting will be commencing for their fall town meeting. I will be attending that meeting, and I'm hoping that either Chairman Teitelbaum might want to go with me. They are implementing electronic voting. It's very exciting. There are 3 other towns that do it, but they have a representative form of town meeting, which makes it easier for them because they can purchase a required number of handheld, where with an open town meeting, you don't know if you're going to get 150 people or 500 people. So it's a little more difficult. It's coming. It's going to come. I don't know if Wareham's quite ready for it or whether financially we're in a position to move forward with it at this time, but I'm excited. I think we should take the opportunity to go and see how it works. I think it would be a real education. So I just wanted to put that out there so people know it's something that we're willing to look into and explore a little bit. Secondly, at the Mass Moderators meeting, the Friday before town meeting, one of the other exciting things that the Mass Moderators are doing are implementing an educational plan to bring town meeting to the schools. And so we have several teachers who are moderators who have put together a curriculum. They will be testing it out this winter in several towns, working the bugs out, and then next year, hopefully, the rest of us moderators will be able to bring it back to our town. It's going to be exciting. They've come up with warrant articles that are of interest to the students. They can put their own articles forward, have their own town meeting, and in talking with our Southeast Mass moderators, who I will be hosting again in February, I think we will be inviting a professor from Harvard who is trying to bring back civics to the school systems to talk about teaching our students about government and how it works. So the focus will be on educating the students about government and how our democracy works. So I'm really looking forward over the next year to work on those projects as well. So I will talk with Selectman Titlebaum if you'd like to go on the 20th.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. I just wanted, I was remiss earlier in not referencing town meeting and the, I think, almost record speed. We plowed through the warrant in large measure due to your speeding up the meeting and keeping the flow going. So I think everybody who was there was appreciative of that. So on behalf of everybody else, thank you.
Well, I think it was a combination of people did want to get home as well, but I think we were much better prepared. And I think going forward, we even can work a little harder and do some more. And I think, you know, over the next couple of years, I think we can make it work a lot better.
I agree.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. In the back.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mary Santos. I live in Precinct 1. And tonight I'm speaking for myself. But in the sense of full disclosure, I am a member of the Friends of the Library, of Friends Forever. And since this summer, I've been very frustrated to be part of an organization trying to help the library for a library that I cannot use. Since this summer, because of the change of the hours, the library serves children, students, stay-at-home moms and pops, retired people, unemployed people, and people that are not working. However, I work at a garden center out of town. By the time I get home to Wareham at 6 o'clock, the doors of the library are locked. And so several times each week, I have to schlep around and go to other libraries to use the computer, to print my documents, to browse at books. And it's unacceptable. And that's kind of what I need to say. I did express my concerns to the director of the library and to the trustees, and they said I should share my concerns with you. So that's what I'm doing tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and also in full disclosure, this whole thing is moot for me because I just got laid off for the winter. But there are other working people out there that have said the same thing. They just can't use the library here. Thank you.
In the rear? I guess she was even.
Sandy
I guess she was even more glad to see you.
Sandy Slavin.
Good evening.
When have I come here that I haven't come up and had something to say? I'd like to know the status of the master plan committee. Have you filled it completely?
To my knowledge, we're still waiting on a couple of committee appointments. I know the FinCom.
Was it fire and water? And I can't remember the third that was missing.
The school committee was, I think, possibly the third one, but let me check on that.
Now, in an absence of the town planner, who is going to be the one leading us to our first meeting?
You mean in terms of who's going to open the meeting, or?
Well, who's going to arrange for, notify us when and where the first meeting is going to be so we can then vote on chair and clerk?
That's an interesting conundrum. Attorney Bowen, in the absence of a town planner to kick things off, what process would you recommend the members of the yet-to-meet committee do to notice it properly and get going?
May I ask, Mr. Chairman, who have we got on the committee?
Selectmen. Yes, we do. Patrick.
Yeah, I'd recommend that Selectman Tropiano call the meeting, convene it, get the ball rolling, serve as chair until such time as the committee elects its own chair.
There you go. I guess problem solved.
indulge me, please?
We're burning the building down now. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, would I have come here for any other reason other than ask a question I knew the answer for?
May I congratulate you on your wisdom in not filling a cake with all the candles to represent each year. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Alan. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all. Yes. Thank you, everybody. All right, next.
Any other citizens or people bearing cupcakes? Yes, come on up, please.
I get some cupcakes if you need it.
I just have a general question. Is it still the policy of the Board of, oh, excuse me, my name is Deborah Rose, I live in Precinct 3. Is it still the policy that if a committee wants legal advice, they have to go through the town administrator, I believe?
The town administrator or the Board of Selectmen.
Okay,
You can come to me, you can come to Derek, you can come to any of the other members here we all have access to town council without having to meet to discuss that. But Derek,
No. Chair.
We do, for personal reasons, Mr. Chair, but committee members have to go to you.
well,
That's a policy, selectmen's policy.
yeah,
I'm trying to
thought
think,
it
'cause we
was.
just changed that one around a few months ago.
I think it's 0801 or so, we do have a selectmen's policy.
Okay, so what would someone do if they felt the proper people were not contacted?
Book is here, so
I have right there.
the policy book is here, so.
You mean in terms of are you saying you think somebody spoke?
Overstep their bounds by going directly.
I think that's a matter to certainly let Mr. Sullivan know. You could let me know, but that's a matter you would want to go to Mr. Sullivan's
Okay.
office, I think, and inform him of that.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other citizens? Okay, next item on the agenda, please.
No, it's the chair. It's the chair of the Board of Selectmen.
What's the number?
I'll go look it up. It's in there. They revised all the numbers.
So what the committees go to the chair of selectmen.
And town employees go to, correct. On consent agenda, I do not have any bills at all. Next item is presentation of final preparation of Veterans Day Parade. I assume that's going to be Mr. White.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I emailed each of you a full report as of last night. I don't intend to go through that entirely, except to make it well known to the public that the 11th of November is our Veterans Day celebration. It consists basically of 3 major activities. One is a parade, which kicks off at 10:30. Formation time is no later than 10. Formation will be in the vicinity of the lower end of Main Street and Merchants Way. In that area, one would find a white tent for check-in, and 2 folks who are working with me on this project. One is Sharon Boyer, who is the co-coordinator, and the other is Guy Campina, who is parade coordinator at the other end. Basically, military units and units with a large number of vehicles will be headed down toward British Landing. Units that consist largely of marching units or people walking, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, that kind of thing.
Sorry, Bob.
And the community will meet on Merchants Way. Once the parade, I'm sorry, did you have a question, Ellen?
No, We were having a little discussion, and rather than listening to you, I apologize.
Your apologies accepted. We'll talk later. I'll get my cupcake later.
I'll give you a couple
I noticed
cupcakes.
Sandy made 6 of them. One of them must be for me.
Most likely at this point.
Or Derek. Okay. In any case, we're going to kick the parade off at 10:30. It'll proceed up Main Street to Chapel, and then across Chapel to in front of the Town Hall. At the conclusion of the parade, we'll have a ceremony. Master of Ceremonies is Captain Paul Barnett. He will conduct that ceremony, and everybody will be facing the monument that's participating in the ceremony. Audio support will be provided by Steve Ruiz. WCTV is going to film the activities so that we have some kind of a promotional documentary that comes out of it at the end. I wanted to say that the reviewing stand is going to be set up by the Harbor Master's office. It'll be decorated by the Wareham Village the Garden Club, Wareham. There'll be many people with their private automobiles in the parade, hopefully transporting either people who can't walk, of course, or veterans that simply don't want to march or can't march at this point. Traffic control will be handled by the police department. Municipal maintenance is involved in opening the buildings and making sure they're ready to go for us, and hopefully opening the bathrooms on the depot down by the railroad tracks. We've been particularly lucky, I think, in getting some additional military units from Otis, and we'll be the Coast Guard. All the services, I think, will be represented in some way, not in large numbers perhaps, but at least they'll all have a representation. As far as the luncheon is concerned, which starts at 12, that will be for veterans. It will we will be receiving food at the back door of the multi-service center about 7 o'clock in the morning, or as soon as Angela Dunham is prepared to open the door and start taking things in. We've been soliciting many establishments in the Wareham area for food. That's been successful to one degree or another. We are providing, I should say that Dave Carson and a crew from the Elks is going to provide the organization for the luncheon. We're counting on each of you to be available, if you can, to serve food in the serving line. A couple of you will be involved in the ceremony, and we hope all of you will be involved in the parade, including the town administrator. The other thing I want to mention is that, not your designee, I understood he was going home tonight. We're trying to offer an alternative to the luncheon for others who are simply participating in the ceremony and so forth. We've got Town Hall will be open so that people can view the memorial boards, which go back to King Philip's War. In addition to that, our town council is going to provide his personal collection of World War II memorabilia, which will be available. He'll be available for questions and answers.
No legal questions, though.
Say again?
No legal questions.
No legal questions. No, that's not a time for personal advice. It is time to probe the depth of his information about the collection that he has. So we are going to set up a couple of food tents, I think, as I mentioned, in the vicinity of the town hall to provide coffee and pastries at that location. We've tried to promote this activity through all the newspapers in town. We appear on WCTV's Good Morning Wareham consistently, or pretty consistently. We've tried to involve the Grand Marshal in promoting the activity so that we certainly have a reach out to the veterans to be in this parade, as well as through the VFW and the American Legion. There will be input from Bourne as well. Bourne Selectmen will be present. Bourne Band will be present. The National Guard unit called the 379th Engineer Company will be present, and provide some large trucks, which we hope we can all go up and take a look at close up. We hope that there will be a color guard from the Bourne VFW and American Legion. They have other commitments that day, and we hope that they can extend themselves enough to be able to include us in our activities. We still have a need for a few volunteers to do specific jobs. Maybe we have to pick up food some places or deliver some things here and there. So if anyone is available and willing to help, we can certainly talk about it and hopefully include you. This is a community event. It's not one that Bob White's putting on. It's not one that Sharon Boyer's putting on. It's not one that the Board of Selectmen are hosting. It's not one that the Wareham Veterans Council is doing by themselves. This is a community event, and it wouldn't have gotten this far if we hadn't had pretty consistent and welcome and offered community support. It's been pretty phenomenal. I don't have anything else I can tell you at this point. The order of march will be decided a little bit later in the week. We will be coordinating and putting out the people who will be seated on the podium for the ceremony and the parade. So I guess unless you have any questions, I will conclude with the fact that we hope that you can certainly be there. And while I'm talking to you, I'm also talking to the community in terms of we hope that they can be there too.
Yes, thank you, Bob. Selectman Slavin and then Selectman Whiteside.
The weather forecast looks really good right now. Looks like it'd be about 50. Just in case something happens and New England weather does what it does and we have rain, would you explain what you have for in case of rain?
In case of rain, we expect to hold the luncheon as anticipated at 12 o'clock in this building. Town Hall will be open for not only the exhibits and the memorial boards, but that's where we'll hold the ceremony in the auditorium. It will be a stand-up ceremony. I don't expect to be putting a bunch of chairs up at the last minute, so we'll position the band and have the program presented from the platform, and go from there. As far as the parade is concerned, if it's marginal, we'll have the parade. If it's really obnoxious, we'll have to cancel the parade. If it's really bad, I wouldn't want anybody to get their hairdo all messed up. In any case, we'll make that decision far enough in advance so hopefully it isn't a complete surprise to everyone.
Thank you. Selectman Whiteside.
Yes, I just want to compliment you and your committee. The email that you sent out to us earlier today evidences an enormous amount of work and cooperation from the community. Thank you for putting together something that is exceedingly important for all Americans to remember.
You're welcome, and I'll sure to be able to express that to Sharon and to Guy Campina and to Tony Scarziati, who's going to help coordinate the parking here in the parking lot.
Tony's actually in the room. He didn't come up with you. I should have told him to.
I expected he was going to be up here, but I didn't want to shag him up.
Tony likes to stay in the background, but thank you, and thank Sharon, thank the other Guy and the other members of the Veterans Council. This is a massive undertaking, and we're very appreciative of the amount of time and effort it takes to put on what is, as you describe, a community event. Thank you for all your work. And we look forward to seeing you on the 11th.
You bet.
Next item, please.
Next item we have is minutes. The regular session minutes of 10/8/13. Make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Slavin, seconded by Selectman Whiteside. Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 4-1-0. Selectman Holmes abstaining.
Make a motion to accept the executive session minutes of 10/15/13 on hold.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Slavin and seconded by Selectman Whiteside. Anything on the question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 5-0-0.
Next item up will be the 5 one-day wine and malt beverage license from Buzzards Bay Productions. Good to see you again.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you?
Doing well.
Hitting a busy season?
We just did Rocky Horror, which was interesting.
Yeah, you look a little drawn. I'm not sure if...
It's a long haul.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I'd like to thank everybody for your help, and I'd like to thank the public for their support. We had quite a few people come through the doors, and it was pretty successful. So,
Well, thank you.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to issue one-day licenses for the Buzzes Play Production, Inc., nonprofit organization under Chapter 138, Section 14 of the Liquor Control Act. And this will be from the town of Wareham. This will be for November 8th, 23rd, 27th, 29th, and 30th from 7 p.m. to 12 midnight to be held at 3065 Cranberry Highway, East Wareham, Mass.
Motion made by Selectman Slavin, seconded by Selectman Tropiano. Anything on the question? Selectman Whiteside?
Yes, I have.
Isn't that a 5-day, 1 day? He said 1 day.
5 1 days.
5 1 days. Yep. We're allowed to do them in batches.
I think you do a great job. The only thing that I question is how come you have to keep coming back here?
well,
It seems to me that you've probably spent $1,500 in,
and then some probably.
well,
the
since
next-
April is,
Right.
okay. And I'm just looking at the fees. I don't know how else you can do this, but
Seasonal license.
seasonal license, I guess, would be.
And that's the next step.
Okay.
We're trying to do it. You may not see me back here again, but we're trying to do that.
It's not that I don't like to see you. It's just, it seems to me that you're spending
Yes,
money
yeah,
that you don't have to.
economically, it's not feasible to keep doing
Okay.
this.
Thank you.
Anything else?
For the record, all the required pieces are here, including the tips training.
Thank you. All set? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Thank you. And if you do come for a seasonal, you will have to come back before us. But
All right. Thank you very much.
we'll see
for
you
your-
one way or the other soon.
Okay, thank you very much for your help.
Thank you.
Take care.
Next, please.
Next, under sewer business, funding source for contract 2. We won't have the DOR stuff for another month or so, probably January. Continued discussion on SWMI program, which is the Sustainable Water Management Initiative.
Yeah, just on that one, I did speak with Director Campina this afternoon. He is going to want to come before us in a few weeks to talk about this. He's interested in it from this perspective of looking at the Swiss beach pipes, which suffer a lot of infiltration, some other areas in town, but he wanted to formulate some ideas and then get them to us and then come before the board to discuss them. So we'll look forward to seeing him in a few weeks on that.
If you could schedule for November 26th.
I'll put it down and as a placeholder, and if he's ready to go then, we'll proceed.
Thank you. Don't have any other sewer business unless anybody has anything.
None here. Okay, next item, please.
Town business, discussion on guidance to the town administrator for the next year. This is Whiteside.
It seems to me that this is on the agenda every week. Well, I know it is. It's number A every week. And we all sort of say the same things. But I think that it's time for, well, this is my suggestion, and I intend to do it for next week. I'm going to put down a list of things that I think are priority items other than the budget, because that's something that we keep coming back to. But when we say guidance to you for the next year, it really isn't for the next year. It's kind of like a capital plan for, you know, this year, next year, and ongoing. So I would like to ask my fellow selectmen to sort of approach it a little bit differently than we have been approaching it, maybe. And we can throw those things on the table and then come to some consensus of, you know, how we would like you to prioritize things, maybe.
So you're looking at a sort of a brainstorming, almost?
A list that we would put together, that we would individually throw in the pot and then put together, and then, yeah, then we would brainstorm them. I hate that
Oh.
word, but yeah.
Well, I was scratching my head for another one and couldn't come up with one, so.
Neither can I, but I think, I think that's what we need to do, and so that we are in fact moving forward with, other than, make sure the budget's tight.
Okay. Selectman Tropiano? Selectman Holmes?
No, I'll wait till next week. I think, the three, I like that idea of having the list. I keep saying the same three things, although I've added another one. So I think next week will be fine when we have the list. I guess we'll email you the topics. Not that, I don't know if we're going to have a meeting about it, but at least I have them on the list.
Yeah, why don't you, if everybody would
All right.
send their thoughts to me, I'll compile them and we'll get them into the packets ahead of next week, and everybody can sort of think about
I'll
them ahead of
send
time. It's a good idea.
I'll send you an email with that, the
Thank-
3 or 4 I keep bringing up.
Great, thank you. Selectman Slavin?
Next up will be the municipal maintenance employee regarding cemetery, Mr. Menard.
Yeah.
Ms. Rose.
Evening.
Ms. Rose, do you want to come up?
Good evening. This matter is on the agenda at Selectman Whiteside's request, so I'll defer to her and ask her to start things off.
Thank you, Mr. Titlebaum. There's nothing in the packet because it's a presentation of, well, it's whatever. I'm the liaison to the cemetery commissioners, and I have been to 2 meetings, and at the moment, the chair is on personal business, and there have been no meetings. My understanding, through discussions with the town administrator, is that the municipal maintenance department, the director, the people who day-to-day manage the cemeteries, have a backup of things that need to be addressed, including, as my memory serves me, a legal issue, which they voted to allow the chairman to ask town council, and I forwarded that, I hope, to the appropriate places, and I'm sure that town council hasn't answered it yet. But there, so I just want you people to be aware of what's going on, because we are, in fact, the appointing authority. It's not meant as a criticism to anybody or anything. It's to bring you up to date on how things are getting done or not.
Well, perhaps we could ask Mr. Menard to explain what the relationship of municipal maintenance is with the cemetery commissioners. I sort of need to know what the backstory is here to get a grasp of.
Well, me personally, I've only been doing it a little over 4 months now, and it's been somewhat a little bit button heads with the commissioners as far as trying to get meetings done at on a timely fashion, and that's one of my concerns, is that I feel like the things are getting backlogged, and that we should be meeting on some type of regular basis as far as maybe the board can recommend as far as at least a mandatory monthly meeting or something in that matter. It really just hasn't been going too well as far as now. And
One second, Selectman Holmes.
Change it.
Respect here. I see Miss Rose is here. Were all of the cemetery commissioners invited to this?
No.
Whatever this is?
I found out because I read the agenda on the
Well,
website.
Personally, I don't think that's very respectful to be discussing a committee in public without at least inviting the committee to come. Is there anything that urgent that we can't do this next week once we've properly invited a committee to?
I'd like to say one thing about this.
Well, one second. I'm talking to the chairperson right now. Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, it's a fair point.
It is
And maybe some background as to what this
Yeah.
is about?
2 of the members are aware of the meeting. One of them is the person who is unavailable to come to the meeting. Won't be available next week either.
So we have 3.
Well, through you,
We have 3 members, and
3
only
members.
2 were informed. Or it wasn't really informed. She read it on the agenda.
well, I think it would be fair to the members, as Selectman Holmes suggests, that if we're going to be discussing those matters, that they at least have an opportunity to appear. So if you would like to revisit this matter, you're the liaison. Perhaps you could take care of working with me to pick an agenda date, and then working with all three commissioners to discuss their availability to come.
Okay, in the meantime, as far as getting a meeting to get something done too, as far as outreaching that also too, you know, there is a issue here that it needs to be addressed too.
Okay, you can bring that issue anytime, of course, to Mr. Sullivan, discuss it with him. I'm, again, without, as Selectman Holmes has picked up, without an opportunity for the commissioners to be here, I think we need to keep that one in abeyance until we do extend that invitation.
Mr. Jim, that was half my point. The second half of my point is, what is this? There's no...
Me,
There's
myself
no-
personally,
there's
I'm
no-
looking for a recommendation from the
There's
board.
no detail here, like
Huh?
1, 2, 3, 1, people don't show up. 2, we're here to discuss a legal. 3, all it says is...
This is just an
meeting with
agenda
municipal
of what we're
employees.
looking to do on our cemetery agenda. Is that what you got, a memo over there?
I don't have a memo or anything.
No, well, he's
All it
looking at
says
our
is-
agenda, and he's curious to know what
Oh.
the specific issue is.
Right. Like there's
We
some-
did not get a backup
Right.
memo, which I had spoken with Mr. Sullivan about last
Oh,
week.
Maybe, yeah, that way we have it all in front of us and we can...
But that would have made it easier if there was
Yeah.
one that didn't make it to the packet. So
But you have 2 members that are still in town. I mean, you should be able to conduct business. Mrs. Whiteside, no? No, I understand that, but
I think that Ms. Rose can actually answer that question, if you would direct it to her.
May I speak?
it's up to the chairman.
Okay.
Yes, but let's
Keep badgering people and-
yeah, let's just speak to the facts as to when meetings have occurred and when meetings haven't occurred, and sort of leave the personalities out of it if we could. Thank you.
One thing that I would like to say is, you're talking about asking the members to come. I have been told, and I don't know who, I think Mrs. Whiteside has been told, that one of the members will not be available until after the first of the year.
Fair enough. We'll still extend that invitation to that member. Nonetheless, I think it's incumbent upon us to do that, simply to be fair. I mean,
Okay, I
sometimes...
just wanted to bring that up for you.
No, thank you.
And another thing I'd like to say is I sent a email to, I believe Mr. Sullivan may have got a copy of it, and some of you may have, I don't know for sure, that there's been business being conducted over the email. And I sent a message out that I refuse to do it that way.
Well, that's an internal matter for your board. I don't think we really can get into that. If you have an issue, if the board is looking for some guidance from council, for example, the chairman of the board is certainly free to come to me and ask me for access to council to discuss that. But you know, I don't want to get involved in... It's not our job to sit up here and micromanage your business, so I just want to be clear on that.
But I am very frustrated about this. I mean, I volunteered to serve on a committee. And even when I go to the meeting, if I'm saying things wrong, please tell me to stop. When I go to meetings, it's pretty much only one person has things to say. I mean, when I was home sick,
Yeah, that's really beyond our peer review here. What we'll do is we will get, in order to be fair to the other members, we'll get an invitation out to the entire membership, bring people in here. We will have specific items of concern identified ahead of time, and then we will decide whether those can be discussed here, whether they're appropriate to be discussed here, or whether they're internal affairs for the commission to deal with on its own. Selectman Whiteside?
I just would like to say that I was present when one of the members informed the commission, because I'm the liaison, that she would be out of town until after the 1st of January on personal business.
Understood. Selectman Holmes?
Yeah, and all I'm saying is, you know, that conversation, it should be on this list we're going to discuss when we've invited everybody to show up. 2 out of 3 of the members are still in Wareham, from what I'm hearing. So, you know, we should have a majority of that board, and if they both show up, then we should make sure we post the meeting for that night for the sewer commissioners as well, okay, just a reminder. And then we can discuss all this then. Just give us the topics and so we can solve something. Because this isn't going to solve anything.
No, it's just not going to solve anything as constituted, because we're just going to be sort of batting things around amongst ourselves. We're not going to have a majority of the board here to be able to speak to the issues. So with your indulgence, we'll come back to this.
I would ask that it be put on the agenda for next week. Again, one of the members is not going to be able to attend. This is one of the reasons that a remote attendance policy would,
Well-
it would really be helpful to this committee at the moment. But I would suggest that we deal with it sooner than later. There are several things that this commission does that we need to be aware of.
Well, fair enough. If you would come up with your list of concerns, we'll look at them and come back to this next week. I don't have a problem with that. We'll extend the invitations so you can make it.
Now you just, Mr. Chairman, now I have a question. I mean, the open, policy for remote participation does not help this situation.
It lies with the chairman.
Because you still have to have a quorum physically present. So it doesn't help. Right, so you have to have two people. So two people physically have to be present in the room. You can't have one on the phone and one in the room, right?
That's correct.
So I don't think it helps much. We have two people still in Wareham. And again, this would be for our discussion next week, but they both need to show up at an agreed time with the maintenance director and do the business. No?
And if
What
that
am I
doesn't
missing? Am I
happen, where
missing something?
do I go?
I don't think you're
Maybe
missing
we'll
anything.
cover it next week.
I don't
But
think you're, yeah.
I don't understand what I'm missing.
I would like to just comment that since David has been there, the meetings we've had, he's really had some good input and is very, interesting as far as the way he discusses certain things.
Good. He's a good
Give
guy.
him a warm and fuzzy, as we say.
Well, thank you, Dave.
We won't
Mr. Chair.
take that any further, David. I'll let you off on that.
Thanks.
Selectman Slavin?
I would ask that you, as the chair, request that the cemetery commission members attend the meeting next week.
I will. I will make that invitation myself personally.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
All right, thanks.
May I ask a question, sir?
Yes.
Would it be proper to have Mr. Menard back again at the same time? Do you?
Well, certainly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Won't be a
we're-
problem.
thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
And one issue that didn't get mentioned is we have to sign deeds, so that causes a problem too sometimes.
Well, we'll get to that next week. Thank you very much, Ms. Rose. We appreciate your coming tonight and being prepared to speak.
Your mother trained me well.
Oh, jeez. You just made me scared of you. I was a tough nut to crack. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item up is a gift from the Tremont Rehabilitation and Skilled Care Center to the town of Wareham. I believe it's in everybody's packet, is what my note says.
Yes, it is. Why don't you read for us what the gift is?
No, it's not on my. It's not on mine.
It's on the back.
I can list the items, but what it is it says it's basically a letter to the chair. Respectfully request that acceptance of the gifts listed below to be added to the next available agenda, and then on the back side of the other page is Hewlett Packard LaserJet 1530, Hewlett Packard LaserJet Pro 400, Hewlett Packard LaserJet P3015, Hewlett Packard LaserJet P1006, Canon fax phone L100.
I'm sorry, but I don't have those.
It's on the back.
It's on the very back of the emails that were sent in regard to this.
It should be in everybody's packet.
Well, Mr. Sullivan can briefly speak to this.
Yes,
I'll make a
the-
motion right off the
yeah.
bat to just accept the gift. It's real simple.
Second.
Yeah, the-
Okay, motion made by Selectman Slavin, seconded by Selectman Whiteside. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500. And the board would like to extend its thanks to the Tremont Rehabilitation and Skilled Care Center for this nice donation. Next item, please.
Next item up is continued discussion concerning the selectmen fees.
Okay, this is Selectman Whiteside's baby, so
In your packet, there, I think it was last week, there was a spreadsheet from Plymouth County, as well as a printout of the fees that the selectmen set. I'm not sure whether you guys, you gentlemen, are ready to discuss them. The only reason I actually put them on the agenda was because I think it's important for us to look at our fee structure as the fees, that we can affect, and see whether they are in fact in line with the communities around us and with, in fact, Plymouth County.
So what we have before us is supplemental information to what we've already received then. Okay, any questions from the board? Selectman Holmes.
Yeah, through you, Mrs. Whiteside. The second and third page, I looked through these water fire things. That's not under our
That's correct.
control, right?
That's correct. You got that packet because it is informative and because Plymouth County, somebody in Plymouth County put it together.
Even the permits, any of these permit fees under those groups, do they go through the inspections department for those, or do they go to the fire and water districts for those? Like, for example, under the propane storage, there's permits.
That's typically an inspection by a fire safety officer, Selectman Holmes, as would be, for example, permitting for underground storage tanks, and those are handled through a fire department, and so in this case, it would be a fire district inspection and a fire district fee.
So all those things, those are not on the table? Because I know, like, when I put in one of those pellet stoves, right?
Mhm.
You'd think it would be a fire inspection, but I went to the building inspector's office for that, paid a town fee.
Right.
I didn't pay the fire department for that. So I was just wondering if these permits come from the inspections department, or if they come direct from the fire and water.
I think they come
Because
from
then we
all.
could set those
Well,
fees.
yeah, we're
right?
gonna have to,
I think these come from all the different areas.
Sorry?
I believe these are coming from all the different areas, showing everything
Okay.
overall. What
Yeah,
we
they'll-
need to do is break these out to the ones that strictly are under our jurisdiction.
So we can get a list of the fees that the water and fire districts charge, so we can eliminate them right out of those lists. So there's no
Yeah.
cross of the fees.
Just net it out for strictly for what we have actually jurisdiction on. Let me go.
Yeah,
from there.
it's,
Yeah.
if you look at the list that was also given to you last week, it's far shorter than this one, Mr. Holmes. Okay? A lot of these things are not under our jurisdiction.
well, I'm sure they'd be happy for us to increase their fees. People would be mad at us and not them, but I don't think it would have any bearing or any status if we did so.
No, there are several departments that set their fees.
Right. So we'll keep this on the agenda. We'll keep returning to it as information becomes available. You can get those fees from the fire and water districts, possibly by next week.
Yes.
Thank you.
Who is actually going to go and take care of the list to generate a list of selectmen fees? Because that's all we're going to be able to deal with.
The selectmen list has already been given to you. It was in last week's packet.
That's this one
No,
here.
it was a one-page, and it's on the website, in fact.
Okay.
It's under Selectmen's fees on the website if you go to the Selectmen's site. If you look, go to town municipal departments, it's there.
Okay.
Fair enough. Thank you for your work on this. Next item, please.
Okay, I see. It's under the Wareham, Judy, that's under the Wareham account, seasonal. It's combined with all the others, but list Wareham. This is what I got
No,
last
actually,
week.
well, it may be there too, but Mr. Slavin, there was a separate list.
Okay, unfortunately, it looks like I actually didn't get that one. Must have missed it somewhere, thank you. I'll look for it.
I would ask then that it be reprinted and resubmitted in the packet, Mr. Sullivan, please.
Okay.
It looks like this.
I didn't get that one. Okay, thank you. I have last week's here.
Actually,
2 weeks ago.
22nd.
No problem.
We'll go back to it. Next item, please.
Discussion regarding meeting with FinCom School Committee on the 2015 budget.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Sullivan and I had planned to meet with the school superintendent and the chairman of the school committee on Monday. Somebody had a personal matter to take care of, so that meeting didn't take place. We're currently trying to reschedule that. I have also spoken with the chairman of the finance committee. He would actually like to come before the board at some point in the near future to talk about the warrant process, to see if we can do a better job of vetting articles here on this board before they appear on the warrant, which I think makes some sense here. We've set various deadlines for town departments to submit articles to us ahead of when we vote to close the warrant, and they go on. I think the suggestion is that the same sort of deadline be imposed upon town committees so that we don't face a situation where we've got 26 articles sitting there and 17 are only acted upon.
Mr. Chairman, this is part of the process. We always have a lot of placeholders, and we have to have a lot of placeholders. So
Oh, we do.
that's-
I get the placeholders are fine, but I think some of the...
It is what it is. But most of those articles that we passed over at town meeting, those were placeholders, most of them. There were a few that were sort of, didn't quite make it because they weren't quite ready. But that's the whole point of a placeholder. And, what's the difference? If you pass over 6, so what? Why do we have to make a big deal out of nothing?
Yeah, that's a point.
Mr. Chairman, I thought Mr. Trapiano was going to say something different. I was going to say, can we get back to the agenda? Because the whole conversation has nothing to do with the agenda. This is talking about a meeting that everybody over the last 6 months has said, we got to start now, we got to start now, we got to start now, with these meetings to talk about the budget, not to talk about warrant articles. So,
Well,
can we get back to this, please?
Yeah, working to get that together. Certainly, we've set a discussed December 15th as the charter deadline for Mr. Sullivan to submit a budget. So we need to have input from all parties by that point. Selectman Slavin?
The idea of this was we have, say, a dollar bill. That dollar bill gets broken out into a percentage for the school side, a percentage for the town side. We know that we're looking at $1 million shortfall before we start, and that's without knowing whether or not the school is level funded or is going to request more. The idea of this, what we discussed back in April actually, and then again we're going to do it in June, everything else, was to sit down with the 3 committees and work out a program so when we come basically before town meeting in the spring, we have a unified presentation so everybody's on the same page. I'll just give you some ideas of the issues that we're looking at that we need to basically discuss on our side. Water pollution control facility, a portion of costs related to in-kind labor of town services. What we're doing is, the way we did things were eliminated, and there are costs to the town that aren't being reimbursed. The school in-kind is an issue. Legal for proper expenses, water pollution control facility, as far as the retained earnings, library funding, police, scope of services to be provided for the coming year. WCTV is going to be moving and stuff. There's things we have to talk about. Transportation, regionalization, and Bourne has a contract for 2015 on their I think comes up as far as the water pollution control facility, using our staff. I believe they're going to stay with us, but they're also looking at doing some of their own things and union contracts. These are just a few I just made quick notes on that we need to discuss and have some kind of basic idea going forward.
Yeah, and one other thing. Look, I think that the whole purpose and what we had talked about before about getting together and meeting right from the beginning, and now months have gone by and we haven't met. I think what the whole purpose of that was to come up with a long-term plan so that we're not looking at these shortfalls and a revenue issue, which we have to start discussing. We have to start talking about revenue. There isn't any. Where are we going to get it, and what are we going to do? And we've got to deal with this, and we really need to start it yesterday, and we haven't. And we promised everybody that we would. And we really should be held accountable, and everybody out there should be holding us to our feet to the fire on this one. So.
I agree. I mean, we gave everybody a date of June 19th that we would start this.
That's correct.
Start what?
Discussions.
meetings.
We said the day after town meeting on June 18th, we would start discussing, and we haven't done it.
So let's pick a date and get these meetings started. Why don't we just do that?
That's not a problem.
A couple days, let's do that. Meetings with school chairman and all that that's not gonna help the process.
Yeah, let's get a meeting.
Set a date.
Okay,
Let's get the
Let's
show
pick a
I'll
date.
do that. I'll work with
Pick
them and get a date.
Send an invite at a neutral site and
Go to work.
if people can't make it, we'll move it to the next day.
We'll just go to
Till
work.
we get a date that people can make it.
We need to start to work, that's all.
All right.
Absolutely.
This private meetings and meetings and meetings, that's not gonna get it done.
Okay, I'll,
Three chairmen, in other words, we're not gonna have a
Use the mic.
successful process. I'm sorry. We're not gonna have a successful process if just the three chairmen meet. It's not
no,
gonna happen.
that won't work. Didn't
Let's
work
pick a
last
date.
year, it's not gonna work this year.
Why don't we ask for, give them a couple weeks to get their formulation together? Why don't we ask for, November, we got Thanksgiving there, right?
Yeah.
How about, December 7th, Saturday morning?
Pearl Harbor Day?
How appropriate.
How appropriate.
Saturday morning, we'll pull
It-
together
wait,
our,
wait.
pull together our workshop.
Well, may I
day
just
that will
make a
live in
comment?
infamy.
If Mr. Sullivan has
We
to
were
have it,
joking about the Pearl Harbor
no,
thing.
no, no, I understand that, sir. If Mr. Sullivan has to have his budget on December 15th, meeting on December 7th is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Well, pick
earlier
a
than
date
that, I
then.
think.
Just throw up a date.
Next week.
Well,
I mean, we promised that we would, Mr. Tropiano is absolutely correct, and so is Mr. Slavin, and so is Mr. Hump. We said June 19th. Well, I don't know how many months ago that was, but it's not a week. It's an unacceptable time
Pick a
frame, so
date.
we need to do it now.
November 16th.
Hmm?
November 16th, Saturday morning. Gives people a week.
yeah, I don't
to
have a
clear the
problem with that.
calendar.
I'll send out the invitation, 10 o'clock somewhere.
Okay. Let's have muffins or something, huh? A little coffee.
There's cupcakes right there.
Roll up our sleeves.
You can have my
and get it done.
cupcakes.
What?
Yeah, no,
No?
you know, it's fine.
Okay.
Just,
And then if we have to move it a day before, a day after, to get participation,
Move it
somebody
around.
has to do it. Meeting with chairman aren't gonna work. That's not gonna do it.
Selectman Slavin?
the reason I have concerns with all this, because of the way our charter is set up and everything else, the capital planning committee technically is supposed to provide the town administrator with a 5-year capital plan on November 15th. And we have no capital plan. We have a 5-year plan, but we have nothing for the coming year to actually do any capital items, which will be the second year in a row, which is a real serious problem with our infrastructure. So these are all things we need to take care of. I unfortunately will not be available during that week that you're going to plan, but I'm sure you can do it without me.
So I'm sorry, can you
Well, I
clarify that, please? There is a capital plan
There is a 5-year
list.
capital plan list, which is updated.
Okay, and so the capital planning committee is meeting and has vetted it or updated it. We haven't done any, we, the town, has not made any capital expenditures. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say the capital.
That's something new.
The capital planning committee probably has not gone through all the departments and get everything vetted currently. You're probably a little behind on that as well, I bet, at this time. But all I'm saying is that what for the current year, it's a 5-year plan. What would be due for this coming 2015 year? They have a list.
Yeah, I think, and if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think, you set the date, right? And maybe you set 3 or 4 dates. And look, Alan can't make it this particular Saturday. Maybe somebody else can't make it. But you know what? We've got to have the meetings. There's, 15 of us all together, or more than that. There's, 18 of us all together, 19 of us. So, I mean, to get 19 people to all be free in November, December, January, it's not going to happen. So if somebody can't make a meeting, they can't make a meeting. If they have something to pass along, they can give it to fellow members. But we just set the dates, and whoever shows up, they show up.
Following what you're saying, I think that we ought to probably have them every other Saturday until.
Could do that as well. Whatever. Just
because you can always
and
cancel a meeting. You can always say, oh, we've managed to
fair enough.
bowl through a whole lot of stuff. And I think that the capital planning committee ought to at least have some input. I mean, that list ought to be in front of us.
Mr. Chair,
I'll make a note
We
here.
need to set the meeting date and move forward.
I guess my question for these is, what's the goal of these meetings? Because for me, having the December 15th budget and it's supposed to be a balanced budget. I'll tell you, that's not a real budget. Hasn't been. There's no way it can be. That's something. We don't have any numbers. About the only thing we've received is the pension assessment.
Right.
So us driving ourselves crazy for the December 15th budget is not effective use of time.
But it may be that not having the figures in front of us, then we have to come up with a charter change and indicate that that is not a reasonable time frame. I mean, I'm not saying that it is, and I'm not saying that it isn't, but you're running a major corporation here, and major corporations plan
Absolutely.
5 years ahead of time, and 10 years ahead of time. So we have to do it, even if we are kicking ourselves in the head. We have to do it.
The only other item that I would ask is if we're going to speak about union issues, we should have an executive session with the boards ahead of time.
Correct.
We can't speak about those in the open sessions.
That's true.
Selectman Slavin?
I think one of the basic things that we talked about before when we had the school committee and was talking again, it's a very simple thing. How much of a dollar coming in is on revenue can be allocated to the school, and how much of that dollar can be allocated to the town? That's something these 3 boards can sit and do. We can't tell the town administrator how to spend the money per se, or the school committee. They get X number of dollars each, and they have to make it work. We have to make a decision to have some guidance. You can't go in there the way it sets up, and Derek has a budget for December 15th, which is really, it's a plug figure budget. I don't know how else to put it. The school committee doesn't have to submit their budget till January 15th. You end up with no idea, there's no revenue there, and you're sitting there with an unbalanced budget. You're going to try and lop off both directions to try and balance. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, if you get $10 comes in, does 6 go to the school and 4 go to the town? Decision has to be made.
Well, the problem you have here, Alan, and I get what you're saying, the problem you have here is a thing called town meeting. And town meeting
Can change it.
tells him how to spend his money.
But we
Just
need,
like we just suggest. Town
But-
meeting makes the decision of how money's gonna be spent. We gotta make that perfectly clear. And so they could go and vote anything they want at town meeting.
I understand that. All it is we're trying to do is
But
that
let me finish.
come through.
What we need to do is have a plan that's more long-term than we've been able to put together, that I think we need to work on, that discusses revenue methods and stuff, so that we can make a plan to the town meeting voters and to the voters of this town. And that's where I think we need to go, and that's what I think the discussion is really all about.
It is. At the end of the day, it's exactly that. You got $1, how are we going to spend
And I
it?
get your point, believe me. I know what you're saying, but it's just, We just haven't stepped up to the box here, and
No.
you know, and nobody ever does want to step up to the box, because when you start talking revenue, everybody wants to hide under the desks. Well, that's not why they voted us in office. They voted us because they thought we'd take on the tough problems and make some choices, and I think that's what we should do.
We have some very hard choices to make, and we're starting off at negative right off the bat, but the bottom line is we have to make some changes. We just can't keep going as we've been going.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Selectman Holmes?
Yeah, all I'm saying is, you know, I just am getting tired of the same old story that you play this timeline game and then you sit down at the table and it's already too late. Every time I bring something up, I'm told it's too late for that, it's too late for that, it's too late for that.
Yeah.
So, you know, when is it early enough? Look, we know what we have for 2014. So my idea is you have these meetings and we discuss 2014 assuming no money, because revenue is not going to happen in the way that I think my colleague is talking about, because there's still issues with the way the money's currently being spent.
Right.
Until those things are addressed and the town feels comfortable, that's never going to happen. So I think, you know, we've talked about services. I mean, every time I bring that stuff up, I'm told, oh, it's too late for that now. We have to talk about that next year. Well, it's been 3 years. When can we talk about it? You know what I mean?
About
When
next-
can we start talking about this
About
stuff?
next Saturday. All right, let's
So,
just
We
get,
have to-
listen,
yeah.
no, it has nothing to do.
Peter, just
I
do a
think
meeting.
the issue is we have so much money now. We assume the same dollar, right, and go from there. And then we don't have these meetings 3 nights in a row where everybody's saying 32 this, 48. Come on, let's do it now. Figure out what's important, where we're going to spend the money that we would normally get, and that's the end of it. And then when he presents his budget, he'll either take our guidance or he won't. The school department will take the guidance or they won't. And like Patrick says, it goes to town meeting,
right.
right? But at least we can put together some insight and some guidance. You know, I mean, you can't just keep spending money with no, people don't like the way the money's being spent. You can't just give them more money. They're not gonna get it from the way I think my colleague is talking. So-
When you post this meeting, which I think you should do forthwith, when you post it, I think you need to post an executive session as well, because without a question, we will have to discuss contracts in order to discuss any of this. And that has to be done in executive session. We cannot do an open session.
Yep.
So plan on 2 parts of that meeting.
Just making notes here.
What was the date on that? November.
I think we were looking at the 16th possibly.
Could you just state for the record what it
8:30.
is that we're going to be doing, subject to your invitation? We're going to be discussing.
Joint
mean,
meeting
we-
on the,
On the 16th with,
with FinCom,
and,
school committee,
and
town administrator.
capital, are you going to invite the capital planning, or should not?
Yeah, you can if you want.
If you have the first meeting with 50 people, I think that's not gonna accomplish much.
I think it would be
just try
helpful,
to-
however, to have the capital plan in front of us, if nothing else.
You can invite anybody you want. We can do it in the auditorium or someplace, or, and if you invite 40 people, 30 people, it's a lot.
It's going to be an interesting meeting that way, but,
We need to get it kicked off.
yeah.
8:30, did you say?
We do it early, yeah.
Location to be determined. Good. I think that'll be a good start.
Yeah. Okay, we all set with this? Next item, please.
Next item is the volunteer dinner, December 6th. Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, he's back from the desert then.
I'll be cooking, so we're all set.
You'll be cooked?
Cooked, probably.
Cooking.
10 days with Sandy could be cooked, yes.
Okay, so let me,
Wow,
let
that
me
was
finish-
bold.
What do you got there?
I made a copy, hopefully it's in everybody's packet today, outlining what we're gonna do.
Did you get something that looked like that?
Yeah.
Good.
volunteer, the chicken penny
Oh, here we go.
pasta.
Here we are. Well, this is just basically, Mrs. Whiteside and I have been working on this a little bit. We were talking about doing a chicken penny pasta, shells with meat sauce, so having sausage and meatballs on the side, salad, cheese, cold cuts, crackers, dressing, hot and sour soup, I'll make that. Desserts, cookies, rolls and bread, coffee, tea, soda. And the rest of it is just the supplies and stuff we need. So I would say hopefully for the meeting on the 12th, if we could, if anybody has any one of those items on the main parts that they would like to make or provide, let us know on the 12th, and then we'll go from there.
I would also just remind you and me that Mrs. Smith has said that she has a fair amount of stuff like the salts and peppers and things like that.
Yes.
So we will coordinate with her as well.
This topic actually came up. Janet in the office mentioned to me today that so far she's had 19 responses
Not very
from
good.
people saying that they would attend. So she is going to, I think, or already has actually sent out yet another email reminding people, so we can start to get a final number here.
Does a good job at bringing
Yeah. We've also added to this, just on the bottom there, it says extra help. Might ask the clerk if she would like to help us serving, etc. Possibly our newspaper people will feed them, but they may have to help us as well.
Nice if we could get the budgets together as good as we get these meals put together, you know?
I'm trying.
And
And
if we made it out of pasta, it'd be cheaper.
we were gonna invite Derek and family, Boys and Girls Club as well.
So, when would you like to come back to this?
If we could, just put it on the schedule for next week.
Why don't we keep it as a recurrent item
And then
until
put it back
it
on
takes
the-
place?
On the 26th, I'll be back by then.
Placeholder?
Placeholder.
Yes. Your favorite word tonight.
Or designate, whatever way you like to do it.
Next
you.
item, please.
This is my wife's favorite, assignment of selectmen policies.
I think I heard a noise in the back of the room.
Yeah, you did.
Well, if you'd care to act as a medium.
I basically went through the policy book and I just grabbed some that I'll be happy to start with. If you want to put it into the record, I'll take 88-1, 88-3, 88-4, 88-5, 88-6, 88-7, -8, -9, 11. I think it's 0201 and 0301 for a start.
Can you just hang on until we all get our lists? Do it again.
Using 1988
The-
policies, they all say 88, then there'll be a dash. -1, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9, -11. I think the next one would be 02 year, would be 01, and 03 would be 01. I'll work on those. I've basically done the work probably a year or so ago on it. I started it. It's been sitting for quite a while.
So you're going to lead by example here? Is that your intent?
Yeah, I have no problem. We just need to get it done.
No idea.
0301.
0301?
Yeah. I think there's going to be a change on something there. That's why.
Well, you can, when you're ready
It'd be -1. I have it as 01 in my master list.
And
Okay.
did you say 02 too? I mean, 2? You just said 1.
I
Okay.
had 0201 and then 0301. So it would
Did
be
you do 88-9?
88-9, yes, and 11.
Maybe you should send out an email.
Yeah,
I can do that also.
That would keep us all on the same page here.
yeah, you didn't do 8810 though,
No.
right? Okay.
I believe 8810 might be the one that's about 15 pages. That's going to require a lot of discussion on what we do with that.
Okay. If you'd like, you can tell me which ones you'd like to.
Well, the 8812, 10 is something that that's what we're discussing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So we're all discussing that one.
That's one I believe all 5 of us have to be involved with. That's
Yeah.
virtually a selectman's, 5-year plan almost, if you look at it. It's almost like a master plan.
I would just point out to everyone that selectmen have been making policies since there have been selectmen. This is, at best, an incomplete list. Probably things that were passed in 1902. We probably haven't paid any attention to them. So, I'm just telling you that we're going back only a certain number of years and dealing only with a certain number of policies. We are not doing all of the policies that have ever been set by every board. We've been keeping somebody's been keeping records for a little while.
Okay, you can, we'll put a few on the agenda each week going forward, as we did previously, and
The idea is that,
pick them off.
I'll take those and submit them at least a week beforehand. Everybody can look at them as we go through, and if anybody else on the board wants to pick a few, then.
Yep.
So we don't do the same work twice, that's all.
Okay, well, thank you for your work on that. Okay, next item, please.
You're right there.
Soft shell clam. It's on the back page, yeah.
Commercial soft shell regulations, I believe, is a standard thing that's done every year at this time of year. I'll make the motion in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 130, Section 52 of the Massachusetts General Laws. The Board of Selectmen hereby approves the commercial soft shell clam regulations from November 1st, 2013 to April 30th, 2014.
Second.
Anything on the question? This is just the winter season clam regulations, the annual. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you.
Okay, next up.
Any town business not reasonably anticipated in 48 hours of the posting of the meeting. Mrs. Whiteside? Mr. Tropiano?
Nope.
Mr. Holmes? I have nothing. Mr. Titlebaum?
Nope, nothing.
Town Administrator's report?
Thank you. I too want to thank everybody for their hard work for town meeting, especially the moderator whose patience with us is amazing. So she must be a wonderful grandmother. I really appreciate everybody coming together and working hard. There are some issues I'd like to clear up from there. One of them was a question about parking, whether for the kiosks it was veterans plates or disabled veterans. So I'd like to read this off. No fee shall be exacted and no penalty shall be imposed for the parking of any vehicle owned and driven by a disabled veteran or by a handicapped person and bearing the distinctive number plates authorized by Section 2 of Chapter 90, or for any vehicle transporting a handicapped person and displaying the special parking identification plate authorized by said Section 2 of said Chapter 90, or for any vehicle bearing the official identification of a handicapped person issued by any other state or any Canadian province. So it is disabled veterans. A veteran plate does not relinquish you from the parking fee imposed. So I hope that clears that matter up. The other item was a question about GASP 45 reports and if we've kept up with them. If you go to the town website and go to departments, under the accounting department, I've added the link which will show the FY13 GASP 45 report for everybody to see. We have kept up with them and we're in compliance with that. And the report is there. It says confidential on there. It's not a confidential report, so you can read it. The other two outstanding items, we've received the applications for the town planner position, the full-time position, and the municipal maintenance director position. We'll be going through them and inviting candidates to interview. So, and those are the most recent items that we have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Sullivan? Okay. Next item, please.
Reports from the board for the committees. Mrs. Whiteside?
No.
Mr. Tropiano?
No.
Mr. Holmes? I've got just a couple. Last night, the planning board heard what is called a preliminary presentation by Bay Point. They brought forth a plan that they have to build 115 units in the range of $300,000 to $400,000. These will be designed mostly for empty nesters, is what the term they used. The bottom line is, when this actually comes forward, it gets approved, the town is looking at an increase on the property side values of about $40 million, which will be a sizable revenue for the town. This process will probably go over anywhere from a 3 to 4 month period of time for permitting, but I don't see any real problem here. We'll see how it all works out. Also, the planning board, the previous meeting had approved the boat ramp, and the paperwork just came through on the 29th of this month, where the state is going to head, and the site plan's been approved for the boat ramp on the Agawam Pond. And I think that's all I have today.
Couple of things. Just trying to look at the calendar here, make sure I haven't already spoken about it. I think I did already speak about going up to Beacon Hill and testifying on behalf of House 1115. I believe the comment period for that is still open, so that anybody who's interested and wishes to submit written testimony to the Joint Committee on Housing can do so. I think that takes care of that. The other thing is, I would like to ask the board if we could write a letter to Representative Gifford commending her, Representative Strauss, and everybody else who was involved in the decision to make Wareham a stop on the Cape Flyer. I think that would behoove us to recognize the officials who were involved in that. It's not really an agenda item, but I just wanted to go ahead and do that, get a consensus of the board before I did. Well, with that in mind, I will do so. Thank you, and I have nothing else.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Holmes, seconded by Selectman Slavin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 5-0-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wareham.